February 23, 1945, 2:30 in the afternoon. Iwo Jima Island, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, a small piece of hell covered in volcanic ash and blood. Mount Suribachi summit, the highest point on the island, 169 meters. 4 days ago, this place was filled with Japanese machine guns. Now, 6 Marine soldiers were climbing to the summit, carrying a heavy flagpole. Hands gripped the pole, muscles tense, all pushing together, up, up, up. The flag rising. 50 meters away, a photographer, Joe Rosenthal, Associated Press, raised his camera. Just that moment. He didn't even have time to look through the viewfinder. He just held the camera up and clicked. 1/400, the A of a second. 1 frame. 1 moment, the second when history froze. 2, 4 hours later, this photograph was on the front page of every American newspaper. It won the Pulitzer Prize. A massive bronze monument was built in Washington, D.C. Clint Eastwood made a film. But nobody knew, of those 6 men who raised that flag, 3 would die on Iwo Jima just days later. The other 3 survived, returned to America, were welcomed as heroes, applauded in stadiums, sold war bonds. But one of them, Ira Hayes, a Pima Native American, drank every night, cried, said, "I'm not a hero. The real heroes died on the island." 10 years later, in 1955, at age 32, he froze to death in the Arizona desert. This is the story of history's most famous photograph, and the tragic fate of the 6 men behind it. First, we must understand, what was Iwo Jima? Why was it so important? Early 1945. America was advancing toward Japan in the Pacific. Island by island, bleeding, dying, losing men. Iwo Jima, a small volcanic island in the Pacific. 8 miles long, 21 square miles. But its strategic importance was enormous. Why? First reason, airfields. Iwo Jima had 3 airfields. The Japanese were launching fighter planes from here, attacking American B-29 bombers. If America took this island, Japanese planes would stop. B-29s could fly safely. Second reason, emergency landing point. B-29 bombers were hitting Tokyo. 1,500-mile flight, long journey. Sometimes they got damaged, ran out of fuel, couldn't return. Iwo Jima was in the middle. If America controlled it, damaged planes could land here. Pilots would be saved. So Iwo Jima wasn't just an island, it was the key point at Japan's doorstep. But there was a problem. The Japanese knew this, and they had turned Iwo Jima into a fortress. 22,000 Japanese soldiers. Commander General Tadamichi Kuribayashi, intelligent, experienced, determined. Kuribayashi spent 8 months preparing. Turned the island into a labyrinth. Tunnels, 18 miles of underground tunnels, caves, trenches, hidden entrances. They wouldn't just fight, they would survive. They would wear down the Americans. They would sell every inch of ground with blood. Kuribayashi ordered his soldiers, "There is no surviving, only killing the enemy. Each man kills 10 Americans, then dies." America planned to take this island in 5 days. But it took 36 days and cost 26,000 casualties. February 19th, 1945, 8:30 a.m. The American fleet lined up off the shores of Iwo Jima. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, 450 ships. The guns began firing. Boom, boom, boom! The heaviest artillery bombardment, the biggest in the Pacific War. The island's shores were ablaze. Smoke covered the sky. 09:00 a.m. The first amphibious vehicles approached shore. Inside were Marines, young men, most 18, 20 years old, M1, Garand, rifles in their hands, fear in their hearts. They hit the beach. First 10 minutes, silence. The Japanese weren't firing. Why? Because General Suribachi was waiting. He wanted more Americans on the beach. Then he would hit them all at once. 30, 000 Marines on the beach. The Japanese opened fire. The volcanic sand began exploding. Mortars, artillery, machine guns, fire raining from every direction. Marines hit the ground. Some tried to advance. Some died right there. First day. 2,400 casualties. Second day. Progress slow. Every inch of ground won with blood. Third day. Still fighting. Japanese emerging from tunnels, attacking, retreating. Fourth day. Marines looking at Mount Suribachi. A Japanese flag flies on that hill. It has to come down. February 23, 1945, early morning. A patrol of 40 Marines began climbing Mount Suribachi. Leader, Lieutenant Harold Schreier. With him, a flag, a small American flag, 54 x 28 inches. Climbing slowly. Rocky, volcanic stone, dangerous, expecting Japanese fire any moment. But it didn't come. Why? Because the Japanese had withdrawn. The summit was nearly empty. 10:20 a.m. They reached the summit. Harold Schreier attached the flag to a pipe, raised it. The first American flag was flying on Mount Suribachi. Marines below saw it. Screams, cheers, sailors on ships blowing whistles. Associated Press photographer Lou Lowery took the photo. But there was a problem. The flag was too small, barely visible from below. The commander thought, "We need a bigger flag, a more visible flag, for morale boost." 2 p.m. in the afternoon. A second group of Marines climbed. With them, a bigger flag, 96 x 56 inches, nearly twice as large. The 6 men in this group, Sergeant Michael Strank, 23 years old, Czechoslovak immigrant, experienced Marine; Corporal Harlon Block, 21 years old, Texas, strong, quiet; Private First Class Franklin Sousley, 19 years old, Kentucky farm family, youngest; Private First Class Rene Gagnon, 20 years old, New Hampshire, runner, messenger; Private First Class Ira Hayes, 22 years old, Pima Native American, Arizona; Navy Corpsman John Bradley, 21 years old, Wisconsin medic. They reached the summit. As they prepared to lower the first flag, they began raising the second flag. A heavy pole. 6 men gripped it. All began pushing together. 50 meters away, Associated Press photographer Joe Rosenthal was there. He'd climbed to the summit, was tired. He thought he'd missed the flag-raising moment. He ran, raised his camera, didn't even look through the viewfinder, just held it up and click. 1/400th of a second. Speed, graphic camera, f11 aperture, Kodak Super XX film, 1 frame. Rosenthal didn't know the beauty of the photo in that moment. "I probably missed it," he thought. He continued taking photos from other angles. But that one frame, that 1/400th of a second moment, would change history. But what happened to those 6 men would shock the world. The film was sent to Guam to be developed. Editors saw the photo, froze. This is incredible. The composition was perfect. 6 men together raising the pole, diagonal line, movement, power, unity, hope. Within 24 hours, the photo was on the front page of every American newspaper. "Our flag waves on Iwo Jima." The American public saw this photo. They were thrilled because the war was long. They'd been fighting for 4 years. They were tired. but this photo gave hope. "We're winning. The flag is flying. Victory is near." 1945 Pulitzer Prize. Joe Rosenthal won. Youngest photographer to win a Pulitzer. Rosenthal was modest. "I just clicked. Those 6 men raised the flag." The photo was used everywhere. Posters, stamps, propaganda, war bond sales, films' 7th War Bond Drive. This photo was used. $26 billion raised. It financed the war. But nobody knew who those 6 men were, and nobody knew. 3 of them would die just days later. The flag was raised on February 23rd, but the Battle of Iwo Jima wasn't over. It continued for 5 more weeks. Those 6 men kept fighting. March 1st, 1945. Morning. Sergeant Michael Strank, 23 years old, was leading his squad. American artillery fired, but made a mistake. Friendly fire. The shell landed on Strank's position. Michael Strank died. Instantly. Same day, a few hours later, Corporal Harlon Block, 21 years old, was advancing. Japanese artillery fire came. Harlon was hit. Harlon Block died. March 21st, 1945. Private First Class Franklin Sousley, 19 years old, the youngest. A Japanese sniper saw him. Fired. Franklin Sousley died. Within 3 weeks, 3 of those 6 men had died. Michael Strank, Harlon Block, Franklin Sousley. They raised the flag, then died. The other 3, John Bradley, Rene Gagnon, Ira Hayes, survived. The war ended. May 1945, Iwo Jima was captured. 22,000 Japanese soldiers, only 216 captured. The rest died. American casualties: 6,821 killed, 19,217 wounded. Total 26,000 plus casualties. The 3 surviving men returned to America. But what awaited them? Was it a dream or a nightmare? May 1945. John Bradley, Rene Gagnon, Ira Hayes returned to America. They were called to Washington, D.C. "You're the heroes in that photo. You'll participate in the 7th War Bond Tour." The 3 men were shocked. John Bradley: "I was just a medic. I helped raise a flag, that's all." Rene Gagnon: "Is this really important?" Ira Hayes: "But Mike, Harlan Franklin died. They were the real heroes." But the military didn't listen. "America needs you. Morale boost. War bond sales. Go, show your heroism." The 7th War Bond Tour began. The 3 men, Bradley, Gagnon, Hayes, traveled the country, in stadiums, in town squares, on stage in front of 100,000 people. A stage was set up, a papier-mâché Mount Suribachi, a fake flag. "Raise the flag again! People want to see!" Bradley, Gagnon, Hayes raised that fake flag again, 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 in every city, in every stadium. Flashes, applause. "Our heroes!" Ira Hayes couldn't take it. Every time he felt sick inside. This is fake. The real flag was on Iwo Jima. The real heroes died there. Why am I here? At night in hotels, Ira started drinking. Alcohol dulled the pain, but it never went away. John Bradley was silent, never talked. "Don't ask me about that day." Rene Gagnon told the story, but nobody believed him. "He's exaggerating," they said. $26 billion raised. War bond sales broke records. America financed the war. The mission was successful. But those 3 men, their souls were shattered. The tour ended. Late 1945. Bradley returned to Wisconsin, lived quietly, never talked. Died in 1994 at age 70. Gagnon returned to New Hampshire, worked, constantly told the Iwo Jima story. Died in 1979 at age 54. But Ira Hayes Ira's story was tragic. Ira Hayes, Pima Native American, from Arizona, Gila River Reservation, born in 1923 in a poor family, but from a people he was proud of. Pima warriors, their history filled with fighters. Joined the Marines in 1942, age 19, went to war, Bougainville, Bella La Vella, Iwo Jima. When he returned from Iwo Jima, he was welcomed as a hero. But Ira didn't feel like a hero. "I just raised a flag. Mike, Harlon, Franklin. They fought, they died. I was just lucky. Why did I survive and they're dead?" Survivor's guilt, PTSD. Every night he saw Iwo Jima, his friends dying. Blood, smoke, screams. He started drinking alcohol. At first, lightly, a couple drinks in the evenings, then more. Drunk every night. Couldn't wake up in the mornings. Lost his jobs. He returned to the reservation. Arizona, Gila River. His people loved him. Our hero. But Ira wasn't happy. 1946, 1947, 1948. Years passed. Ira was arrested more than 50 times for public drunkenness, in and out of jails. His family tried to help. "Ira, stop drinking." "Ira, I can't stop. If I don't drink, I see them. Mike, Harlon, Franklin. Why did I survive?" 1954, Washington, D.C. The U.S. Marine Corps War Memorial was unveiled. A massive bronze statue. From that photograph, 6 men raising the flag. Ira was invited. He went. He saw the statue. He cried, "They died, I survived, and now I'm in a statue. It's not fair." But the most heartbreaking moment was still to come. January 24th, 1955, night. Arizona, Gila River Reservation. Winter, cold, temperature below freezing. Ira Hayes, 32 years old, had been drinking, heavily. On his way home, he fell on the road, stayed on the ground. In the cold, nobody passed, nobody saw. Found in the morning, frozen, hypothermia. Ira Hayes, age 32, was dead. Funeral, Arlington National Cemetery, full military honors. Thousands attended. But Ira's family said something. Ira was never happy. That photograph killed him. He wasn't a hero, but everyone said he was. He blamed himself every day. In 1961, Johnny Cash wrote a song, The Ballad of Ira Hayes. The song tells it. A Pima warrior went to war, raised a flag, became a hero, but his people forgot him. He drank, he died. Today, 2025. That photograph is still the world's most famous war photograph. In Washington, D.C., the Marine Corps War Memorial, millions visit every year. Clint Eastwood made Flags of Our Fathers in 2006, told the story. But perhaps the most important lesson is this. That photograph was powerful. It gave hope, financed the war, became history. But the 6 men in that photograph, 3 died in battle, 3 survived, but weren't happy. Because sometimes being a hero isn't a blessing, it's a curse. Sometimes surviving is harder than dying. And sometimes history's most famous photograph brings the darkest days to those inside it. 6 men, 1 flag, 1/400th of a second. 3 dead, 3 survived, but none found true peace. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe, because sometimes the most famous moments hide the most tragic stories. The Iwo Jima flag proved that.